Welcome to Living the Run. I'm your host, Rex Stevens, alongside Paul Terek and producer Max Woodcock. I had to chuckle there. We're not just chewing the fat, we're getting rid of that. Paul, did you come up with that one, or was that a Ryan Ferrand special?
That was a Ryan Ferrand special. I think he was looking at me, watching me eating a piece of steak before he came up with the chewing the fat part, and then he moved on to something a little healthier. It's only speculation, though.
Well, I got to think he's thinking about getting to the meat of the issue and doing more than just biting down on things, but saying, hey, let's put a plan together and let's get healthy, and that's what Living the Run is all about, health and fitness show. Live bold, live the run. Did you come up with live bold, live the run? Is there anything
it was all Ferrand, man. It was all Ferrand. I'm just the eye candy, Rex. I'm just the eye candy.
And don't forget, you are the voice, too. You are the voice.
Dude, did you see, totally changing subjects, did you see American Ninja the other day? American Ninja Warrior? You guys didn't watch that?
Paul Terek, I don't have TV, so I have not even heard of American Ninja.
You know, TV? Look at this guy.
Paul probably only brings this up because he was formerly a Ninja Warrior contestant.
Oh, no, it was.
He wants to relive his glory days on the radio.
No, I don't, because I know that if I had got a call to do it, it would have been very embarrassing and another failure to chalk up, an athletic performance. But what I love about it is that there are so many. The history of it is it started. The G4 network picked it up. It was a Japanese game show. The G4 network picked it up. And it's just weird because it was a gaming network, and then all of a sudden they're big fans of American Ninja, or I'm sorry, it was at the time it was Ninja Warrior. They're huge fans of it, and I love the fact that that G4 picked it up and was putting it on a gaming station and introducing, even though they weren't looking at it as fitness, it was still a competition. They were introducing them to an active competition that people sitting 10, 12 hours in front of a computer screen all day were really getting behind. It was actually one of the positive things I can say I've seen in television, and so anyways they've been filming it kind of on their own, like a low budget type thing, and then it's taken off over the last few years. And when they showed it, it was on, I think it was on CBS or NBC or something, and it was huge. It was down in Venice Beach, and they had a long course with like 9 obstacles, looked really like professional, high grade. So anyways, awesome. I think it's a great thing. They're putting it on TV. It's there's no way you can do it if you're out of shape and overweight, but it promotes having a healthy, fit body. It's not so much being out there and being the most ripped guy out there or whatever, but just being able to maneuver your body weight. And I think it's a great thing.
Sounds great. Almost like stop observing and start participating.
Bingo.
Well, we're excited today. On today's show, we got Luke Llamas, who's the director of Fellowship for Christian Athletes here on the Central Coast, and I know he's excited about an all-star football game they got coming up on Saturday, June 2nd. There at 7 p.m. Tascadero High School. This will be the second year they're doing it. An opportunity for seniors to get one more shot at playing the game they loved for those that aren't moving on potentially to the college ranks. And so we're excited to have him. And he's going to be bringing in the long snapper from Cal Poly, Zach Powell, who's got a pretty cool Living the Run story. Started in high school for him and has culminated in a pretty good success story there at Cal Poly right now. And some of the things with what FCA is doing is they're talking about more than just sports. And I heard Colin Coward just the other day talking in the morning, and he talked about love your life but like your sports. And there's more to just this element of athletics, competition, and sport, but there's more that comes into that thing. Character, things like John Wooden used to say, don't have character, but don't be a character. So how does that fit into...
Did that not transfer over to any current professional athlete? Is there not one that has ever heard that? I mean, you're right. You hit the nail on the head. I mean, there's more to it than just athletics. It's about building character and producing young men and women. And I think they lose sight of that. There's so many people you see out there that will do win at all costs. And we joke around about it, but that really is a bigger mentality than it should be. Everybody has that. Whether it's a performance enhancing drug, whether it's putting your athlete or your son or daughter in a situation where it may not be the physically the healthiest thing for them or the best thing for them, but they got to win at all costs. And I think there's a line that gets crossed really early on that, all of a sudden when you cross it, it's hard to look back and remember where it's at.
Absolutely. I know John Wooden used to be concerned with his players because you're always getting this bombardment from other coaches, teachers, family, maybe the media in some ways. And he always used to tell his guys, be more concerned with your character than your reputation, because your character is what you really are, while your reputation is merely what others say you are. And I think he was trying to say is, hey, there's going to be a lot of outside influences, guys, but come together as teammates. Let's use these certain philosophies and kind of standards of character to maximize our team, maximize your possibilities, and get through this more positively when you finish playing for this team.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think you, like I said, hit the nail on the head, man. Character's where it's at. Well,
it is, and I thought we'd go through a few. Living the run. We talk about this is we're all in it together. Living the run is we're all in it together, and some of these things, like you said, that TV program, step by step. Oftentimes, it takes baby steps, it seems like, and I know this can be frustrating for some, but to get to some of those goals that you're trying to achieve, whether it be weight loss, whether it be increased energy, whether it be just reduction of stress. And I was reading this book the other day. One of my favorite authors, her name is Anne Lamott. She wrote a few books. One of my favorite books by her is Traveling Mercies. But she wrote a book one time, and she told a story about her brother. And maybe Paul, you've done this. I know I've done this. Max, possibly. I doubt Max has ever done this. But, he was a sixth grader, had a bird project. And there he is. He's supposed to, write about several hundred birds and give all the details and put that information out there in a report. And he had 3 months to do it. And one day before the report was done, he came to his dad and said, Dad, I got to do this project. And, of course, he had 3 months. There's no way you do it in one night. And he starts to panic, and he starts to get stressed. And I know a lot of us have had those times where we start to get stressed, and now all of a sudden the picture becomes very fuzzy. It's not very vivid anymore. The clarity is starting to go out the window because the panic is starting to overwhelm us. And I thought it was a great deal when he'd asked his dad, he says, Dad, how in the world are we going to do this? And his dad looked at him, he says, we're going to go bird by bird. And I see bird by bird as one of those deals as step by step sometimes, this process of getting to that healthy goal. Look at it as the small steps. If you got 5 minutes to do a stretch, great. If you're able to add a couple more vegetables to your meal one day, wonderful. Can you get to bed a little bit earlier? Use those little baby steps as success milestones to be able to build to that bigger goal.
I'm glad you expanded on that, because when you were saying bird by bird, I was thinking a little bit of turkey, maybe some chicken, some pheasant would be nice, maybe some duck.
I'm a big fan of Cornish game hens.
I was going in a different direction. I was thinking of these tasty little legs, and I'm glad you clarified. Brought me back there.
Yeah, but I mean, what a great thing, and as a parent, as we're looking at our kids, and look, we all do this stuff. To be able to relieve stress for somebody, to be able to give them confidence that they can do it, and to be able to focus on the little things to be able to make that big picture happen. And I think when we start to talk about character and we start to talk about these other elements that fitness and sport can bring us, these are really, really big topics that probably just don't get talked about enough. Well, I want to talk about one, Paul, is this thing, and I kind of wanted to go after John Wooden today. He's always been one of my favorite guys, and he did a few things with regards to. Obviously, he was one of the greatest coaches of all time, but one of the things that made him that was being able to implement some of these strategies. And I thought, when you look at some of these things, how does this come to what we're trying to do here at Living the Run? We're a health and fitness radio show by all means, but at the same time, we're trying to encourage people and be able to set a foundation for people to feel as though that they can reach these goals. So I always liked, he had something called a 7-point creed. I thought we'd go over it before we talk to Luke Llamas and Zach Powell here. Is the first one he says is be true to yourself. Very first thing, every day, and he kind of said these are one of these things you should do each day. The second one was make each day your masterpiece. 3 was help others. 4 was drink deeply from good books. 5 was make friendship a fine art. 6, build a shelter against a rainy day. And 7 was pray for guidance and give thanks for your blessings every day. And, the way I looked at that last one is when it comes down to health, sometimes one of the great things is to say, hey, I'm so thankful that I can get up and move. Or when I saw you, both of us busting in here right on time today, right? The ability to just kind of to get those legs moving from the car to the studio and get here quickly. It's something that we're probably not appreciative of enough, and it's a great thing to sit back and be thankful for.
I don't know. I'm pretty appreciative. I really think that 10 meters that I jogged in here, that is my masterpiece every day. Like, I celebrate those times like, man, I can run again. Great.
Paul, I thought your masterpiece was that win in the Royal Grande Rec League basketball.
Well, you can't rest on your laurels. While that was an incredible accomplishment, I think the important thing to remember is, what have you done for me lately? And today Yeah, I ran 10 meters. Good form, too, by the way, if I do say so. Yeah, a little hips were down a little bit. Maybe I'm losing some ab strength, but...
It was fantastic. Any leaders for you, Paul, in the past, coaches, things that you've had, whether it was in high school, whether it was college, those guys that just kind of stood out, maybe more by the way their actions were rather than just what they were saying to you?
One of the, as far as competitors go, two of the guys that I competed with, that I was on the Olympic team in 2004 with them, was Brian Clay and Tom Pappas. Two really completely different guys, personality-wise, but they were prime examples of how to be great competitors. Not just a great competitor, but to be a great athlete. They were out there, they were competing, they were against the other athletes. But the biggest thing was, you never saw them, you never saw them lose sight of the big picture. I would get really frustrated and get down, and I'd kind of emotionally swing low after a bad event, and they would get frustrated, but you would see them, just dip down a little bit, and then get right back on track. And they were, and the other thing too is they were just great guys to be around. The meet's over, and we're all sitting down having breakfast, or we're all sitting down eating dinner or whatever, and they were just, as down to earth as you can get. So I think as far as competitors, they were probably two of my favorites. The one guy I talked to, Milt Campbell, I love the guy. He's great. I believe he was a 56 gold medalist in the deck. Best saying I ever heard him say was, "Do your best, forget the rest."
I like that. You're making me think when you're talking about Brian Clay and Tom Pappas. I was thinking about Phil Jackson used to say, "Never let your successes go to your head, or never let your failures go to your heart." It sounds like those guys were able to keep that steady realm and not have a good high jump, but you can come back and have a good event after, or what have you.
Well, the one thing that I think drives me crazy out of all of sport is watching somebody do something that they're paid to do. You watch a defensive lineman sack a quarterback in like the middle of the second quarter in a game that doesn't mean anything, like the third game of the season, and he jumps up and he's screaming, he's celebrating, like, "Look at me, look what I did." And it's like, dude, that's your job. Congratulations, you've done what you're supposed to do. You shouldn't get credit for that. But then it's like when the guy screws up on the next like 5 or 10 plays, like he's not up jumping around and doing the same thing. It's like you need to lose as graciously, or win as graciously as you lose, kind of thing. And that's what always bothered me. And that was the one thing about Brian had. I remember one time he threw probably a 4-meter PR in the disc, or javelin, sorry, and you wouldn't have known it. As soon as it left his hand and the yell got it, he finished screaming. And the javelin landed, and they measured it. He just gave himself 2 claps and changed his shoes, and he was on his way. I mean, it's just the modesty and the humility was great, And I really respected that.
Act like you've done it before, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I would say at the same time, though, with such a high-intensity sport like football, some people use that as their sense of motivation as well. You get done with a huge play. Well, do you want to just go stand back at the line, or do you want to kind of just rally yourself up? No, I agree.
Quarterback sack. It's nothing. If it's the end of the game, or it's fourth quarter, or maybe it's third and short, and you get the sack. All right.
Well, maybe that's when it's most important, is in the second quarter, when there is still a whole second half to play. You got to keep yourself motivated. You're going into the locker at halftime, and you're going to sit around for about 15 to 20 minutes. You need all the extra internal motivation you need, because everybody out there playing against you has their own sense of motivation, and they're fighting just as hard to keep you from being able to celebrate.
I hear what you're saying, but my response to that is, that's terrible. No, it's the second quarter. That's his job. That's what he needs to do. Don't celebrate. Just tackle the guy. Save your energy for the next play, and then do it again.
Hey,
if you sack a guy 3 times in a row, then on third down, then you celebrate. Yeah.
Hey, let me get in the middle of this.
The point is,
I think the point is let's just go back to it. I mean, when we listen to Phil Jackson say that, never let your successes go to your head, never let your failures go to your heart. As he's saying is, don't waver too far off the emotional line. Have perspective on what's going on, and have character. Don't be a character. Right? You're listening on to Living the Run on ESPN 1280, and that was Max and Paul kind of getting in a little riff there. Not really, but we will soon be joined in just moments by Zach Powell and Luke Llamas. I just want to give one thanks to a coach that I had in high school. His name was Jerry Hitchman, and I don't know. I was actually talking to Luke yesterday, and I don't know if we had any of these organized deals like FCA or even Athletes in Action at my high school, but I know that Coach Jerry Hitchman, he used to bring us on Fridays, and we would go to Denny's, and it was just a great time. Game day, we'd show up at 6 a.m., so it was worth it to go at 6 a.m., and it was worth it to go to Denny's. As you know, Paul, I don't like Denny's, and I don't like getting up at 6 a.m. when I was 17, but there was so much value. I felt that there was some wisdom that Coach Hitchman was going to give us, and looking back on it, I never had a coach that did that. besides him, and I just wanted to say thanks to him and props out to the coaches that are reaching out a little further.
And a big takeaway from that was never order eggs sunny side up at Denny's.
I would agree with that, and I never did do that. Hey, remember, before we go to break, remember, listeners, that Jaffa, your favorite Mediterranean food, whether it's a shawarma, a gyro, or a little baklava, is given a $20 gift card to a winner. We will have a trivia question after the first segment with Luke Llamas from FCA. Back in moments.
You're listening to Living the Run on ESPN Radio 1280 The Ticket.
Friends tell friends about Perry Ford Lincoln in San Luis Obispo. Here's Angela Biles from San Luis Obispo.
At Perry Ford, I just felt instantly comfortable when I walked in.
Here's Gus Best from Paso Robles.
When I traded in the car here, they gave me the most for my car. In fact, I can honestly say it was $1,000 more than anyone else.
Here's Leota Lardner from Templeton.
For service, I always come to Perry. I had a small little accident. Perry picked it up, took care of the damages, and returned it back to me.
Here's Doug Showalter from Morro Bay.
Oh, it was so easy to buy that car. When I came in, everybody at Perry Ford kind of came together and worked the paperwork, and I was in and out of this place very quickly.
And here's William Garwood from Lockwood.
Even though we live 70 miles away, it's right on the highway. You can get right off the highway, right into the dealership, and it's well worth the trip.
For a great experience you'll be telling your friends about, visit Perry Ford Lincoln today on Los Osos Valley Road in San Luis Obispo. Call 544-5200 or click on perryfordslo.com.
Hi, it's Colin Coward. Here on the Central Coast, when it comes to insurance, there's only two things you need to remember. Morris and Garitano. Since 1885, they've built a tradition of earning your trust twice, at the time of purchase and the time of need. It's the largest insurance agency headquartered in the county. Morris and Garitano offers a broad range of insurance services to businesses and individuals for all your insurance needs: health, liability, auto, life, and workers' comp. Only two things you need to remember: Morris and Garitano.
The U.S. Open returns to Olympic Club in San Francisco June 11th through the 17th. Witness the game's best players and golf's toughest tests. Tickets can be purchased now at the U.S. Open website. The U.S. Open has sold out 25 years in a row, and this year's championship promises to be no exception. Get your tickets while they're available. The U.S. Open Golf Championship, June 11th through the 17th at the Olympic Club in San Francisco. Don't miss a single shot. Purchase your tickets now at usopen.com. That's usopen.com.
This is really cool, Dad.
Yep, nothing better than camping out under the stars.
You think there's any bears out here?
I don't think we have to worry about that. Look, there's the Big Dipper.
Wow, cool.
At Four Seasons Outfitters, they can help you create an outdoor family adventure.
Hey, can we try out my new fishing pool tomorrow?
Sure. Hey, want to roast it in the marshmallow?
Oh, yeah.
For camping and hiking equipment or fishing and hunting gear, Four Seasons is your hometown outdoor outfitter.
Did you and Grandpa go camping when you were little?
We sure did.
Did you see any bears?
Nope, no bears.
You'll find backpacks and tents, freshwater and deep-sea fishing equipment, campfire cooking supplies, guns and ammo, everything you'll need for your next outdoor adventure.
Hi, guys.
Hi, honey.
Oh, hi, Mom.
So how are my two campers doing? Do you want me to leave the porch light on?
Maybe. Just in case there's a bear.
Even if it's in your own backyard. Four Seasons Outfitters, your outdoor adventure headquarters for more than 25 years. 432 Higuera, San Luis Obispo.
We're back with Living the Run.
Welcome back to Living the Run. At the break, Paul and producer Max Woodcock made up with a little fist bump, little high five. They weren't really upset at each other. Hey, let me tell you about something real good, guys. Coming up Saturday, June 2nd, 7 p.m. at Tascadero High School, we've got the FCA All-Star Football Game. Second annual, $10 admission, $20 raffle ticket. Paul Terek, you like this, to win $20,000 for a voucher to a car at any one of the 11 participating car dealers. 100%, guys, 100% listeners of the proceeds are going back to the local high school football programs. Awesome stuff. Cool event. We are joined in studio now by the guy who's heading up this event, here. He heads up Fellowship for Christian Athletes here on the Central Coast, has been doing so since 2007. 5-time national competitor, track and field cross-country athlete for Cal Poly. Received his degree in communications there. Luke was involved in a ton of things. This guy is involved in everything, and I've heard him speak many times. He loves to speak. You'd love to hear him, too. Luke Llamas, thanks for joining us in studio.
Yeah, Rex, great to be with you guys, and I just looking forward to the evening.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, tell us a little bit, Luke, about how you got involved in FCA. Was it something you were doing as an athlete yourself? What does FCA mean to you, or what did it mean to you just as a track and field guy? And Paul Terek, you did know, steeplechase guy, by the way. Steeplechase. Was that one of your better events? Is
no,
that in the
definitely
decathlon?
not one of my better events. He's got that whole. I was down with the steeplechase right up until they said it was 3,000 meters, and I said, I'm going to go ahead and pass that off to a guy that's probably way better at it than I am.
Pass it off to a guy like Luke.
Yeah, I remember watching Paul train for the pole vault when I was going around doing hurdles and running around the track.
And it was and do you remember the down days that I'd have that when we talked about getting really upset and everything? Do you remember those days? I'm sure you witnessed a few.
It's easy to get frustrated with the pole vault, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was definitely a yeah.
So
Go ahead, tell us about that.
I got involved with FCA. I was involved with Athletes in Action and other sports ministry at Cal Poly. My 4 years there, and then my friend Dennis LeDuc was a pitcher for Cal Poly. Ended up doing FCA real part-time as he was graduating. He asked me to go and speak at a high school, Pioneer Valley High School. I was actually there today talking with students, and I went and talked with the track team. One of their lunch meetings, they had some pizza, and kids gathered, about 40 kids in the room. And on the way home, he said, hey, they're looking for somebody to do this full-time in this area and grow the ministry of FCA to the surrounding high schools. There was only 1 or 2 schools that had FCA at the time. And long story short, I ended up looking more into the organization, came on staff, and 5 years later, here we are today.
How long's FCA been around? Because I was telling Paul, I just don't remember this kind of stuff when I was in high school, and it's just possible it just wasn't there. But we were going to big public high schools up in the Bay Area. I had heard of Athletes in Action, but that wasn't at my high school either. What's the distinction there, and when did those things come about?
Yeah, I tell people, I was familiar with the AIA, but I had not heard of FCA 3 months before I got hired as well. But it's actually, I came to learn about it. It's a pretty large sports ministry, probably the largest sports ministry definitely in the country and in the world. It started in 1954 with a guy named Don McClannon. He was a basketball coach, worked with Branch Rickey to get it started, and they started a camp at Estes Park, Colorado, that birthed into ministries that would meet on local high school campuses. And we now do ministry with middle school, high school, college, and pro athletes across the country. And it's kind of grown. We're on about 9,000 campuses across the country. Have now about 1,000 staff across the country, about 50 of us in California, Nevada, Hawaii, which is the western region. So it's grown. It's bigger in kind of other parts of the country. It's pretty newer in California. I didn't have it as well in high school. Kind of wish I did. It's a pretty neat organization. It's fun working with students and coaches.
Absolutely. When you talk about these professional athletes and things that are involved, it's amazing. As you go through and you look at who's been involved with the FCA, Drew Brees, Tim Tebow. You talked about in tennis, I think there was Michael Chang, Bubba Watson, who just won the Masters. Yeah. Some big names of guys that are they're in there. It's an organization similar, right, to things like YMCA, things like First Tee. Those things are trying to get after more than just the sport. We kind of used Colin Coward, an ESPN guy, said, love your life like your sports, and kind of said there's something bigger than sports, and it seems like some of these organizations are doing that. Tell us a little bit about how FCA does that and their unique niche.
Yeah, in FCA we encourage what we call the heart and soul in sports, and we recognize, in the Christian faith, just this idea that all that we've been given is a gift. We're called to steward it well, and so whether it's your vocation, whether it's your relationships, or whether it's your athletic abilities or something that you can use and steward in a way that honors God and can encourage and benefit others. And so guys like Tebow, they want to make a difference through their influence and the platform that they have. They also want to maximize the gifts and abilities they've been given in this life to glorify God and just enjoy the life they've been given and doing that through sport. So,
what are the core values? Go through real quick. I know that's a big thing for FCAs is the core values. We kind of talked about John Wooden's 7-point creed that he used to lay out for his guys, and I know that meant a lot to him, and so much of it was around action, less talk. What is it about FCA's core values? What are the 4 that they've got, and how they come about?
Yeah, I've come to really appreciate them, just even my own personal life and living out a life of faith. But FCA's core values are integrity, service, teamwork, and excellence. And so integrity, you talked a little bit earlier about character, who you are publicly as well as privately. The idea of service, Jesus gives the model of servant leadership, and so as we put others before ourselves, seek to serve them, that's a way that we can model that core value. And then teamwork, it's a pretty neat thing, as we'll talk about the All-Star Game in a little bit, just seeing different people in the community, volunteers, the business community, the athletic community, the Christian community coming together, working together, partnering with different organizations, different people, using their gifts and abilities to accomplish something that we couldn't alone. And so the idea of teamwork is a big part of FCA. And then excellence. I think as athletes, as competitors, we want to do the things that we set our mind to. We want to do them well, and that's a core value of FCA is excellence. And that's actually been a challenge to really strive to do ministry well, to do life well, to honor God in a way that you do it well, and so try to be excellent in all that you do. So integrity, service, teamwork, and excellence are the core values that we're trying to encourage through athletes and coaches on the Central Coast.
Well, I think the big thing to remember from this is, regardless of how far you are on your path, in religion, is these are things that apply to everybody, and they're things that can apply to sport, and they're things that can apply to just somebody picking up and trying to say, hey, I'm going to lose 5 or 10 pounds here. I'm going to try to get in a little bit better shape. These are values that everybody can use.
Yeah, in a lot of the ways they are, definitely. All 4 of those values, I think, no matter where someone is at in a life of faith, those are things that are significant that they can apply, and we've really seen that in the community and on the campuses, of people being really receptive to those values as we just strive to work together, have integrity, and do things with excellence. So you're absolutely right.
Hey, talk about this game a little bit. How did this whole thing get started? Who's involved? I think it's just seniors, right? Who's involved in this game? Who had the idea for this? Talk about the success of last year. I know you guys raised a ton of money. I'll let you talk about that, but sounds like just an awesome event. And I know you've been involved in a lot of events. Are these All-Star games happening all over the country, or is this kind of a new thing here on the Central Coast?
There are All-Star games that are hosted around the country, and there is a couple, but not that much through FCA. There's a couple in Texas, I think one in Virginia. So we're probably maybe the 4th All-Star game. Definitely the first one on the Central Coast where FCA has hosted a game. I definitely don't take credit for the success and the birth of this game. Actually, the visionary behind it is a former varsity football coach, Greg Dickinson, down at Pioneer Valley High School. He went on to be an athletic director. Now he's an assistant principal. And he really had the vision behind this game of wanting to see a game on the Central Coast that would match rivals in the local area, and also be a game that could showcase local athletes, recognize officials and longstanding coaches in the area, and then also be a fundraiser for local schools and give back. And so FCA was approached. A lot of the people that were, as we put together a committee for it, our board chairman, some of the coaches, they had all been involved with FCA, and they said it felt like FCA would be a great fit. And once we got involved and went and contacted some of the sponsors, talked about our core values, it really took off and was really well received, and it's gave birth to our first game last year.
Yeah, you guys raised a ton of money last year. How much money did you raise?
Yes, it's pretty neat to be able to say that through the game we have a couple fundraisers that allow, through ticket sales, car raffle fundraiser, and game ticket sales, the schools get to go out and sell those tickets and keep 100% of proceeds of what they sell. And through the game we actually raised $155,000 for local high school sports, across the 14 high schools that participated. And all of that went back, 100% of that went back to their local program, allowed them, because of budget cuts and the things going on with the economy right now, it's a pretty big deal. A lot of these coaches just saying, so grateful that we're having a thing like this so they can raise money for helmets and jerseys and their program.
Yeah, I think it's great that you're having this out here. A lot of people forget that the Central Coast is relatively isolated. California is such a big state, and, usually they have like a state all-star game, or, LA might have its all-star game, but down, on the Central Coast, they didn't really have. Up until they did this, there wasn't really anything, was there?
Yeah, there was a game that had gone on for a little while against Santa Barbara City and northern Santa Barbara, but the Slow High players for Slow County, not Slow High, but Slow County had not been able to play in a game since 1980 or so. And so none of those players had the opportunity to play in a game, and so this is the first time they've had that opportunity, and they're pretty grateful.
Yeah, so all the local athletes you read about all year long, you see them, you can't make it to all the games, you're going to be able to see them all in one place.
That's right, yeah. And, it's pretty fun. I'll let Zach maybe a little bit later talk about his experience playing in the game. We try to treat them pretty well and spoil them. They get to keep their jersey. We get them a shirt and just some really neat resources and stuff, and just try to showcase these athletes.
Now, Rex was a little hesitant to ask you, but he didn't really get to play a lot of football in high school. Is there a spot on a team for him? Because he wasn't a big guy in high school, but he's filled out. He's been working. He's in better shape. He's got some size. Is there a spot for him? Does that be a starting spot? He can, second string, maybe special teams.
Well, we do have an underclassmen combine. Before that, you might want to be able to go and see your 40 time and get some of those things before we put you out on the field. I don't know. I'm definitely not a linebacker either, as you can probably tell. I was a distance runner and stuff, but it's been really fun working with this football community because they're so passionate about their sport of football on the Central Coast.
Yeah, there's got to be some freshman that lures in that I might be able to run against over there, or maybe compete in some weights. Or
let it go, man.
Hey, we're talking to Luke Llamas, director of the Central Coast of Fellowship for Christian Athletes. Again, we're talking about a game, FCA All-Star football game that's going to be happening Saturday, June 2nd, 7 p.m. at Atascadero High School. Again, it's $10 admission, $20 raffle ticket to win $20,000 towards a car voucher to any one of the 11 participating car dealers. 100% of the proceeds go back to local high schools, football programs. And, as Luke just said, $150,000 last year was raised for this game. What a fun time. What a good, great event. I know you can learn more about FCA on fca.org. Stories galore there. I read this one on Anthony Hargrove. Guy from the Saints. I mean, this is an incredible story. This guy, mother dies of AIDS when he's before 10 years old, goes to move in with his aunt and uncle, gets involved in football, goes to Georgia Tech, is out after 2 years from grades. He's out just working, but then he's working out a little bit. Guy picks him up, and the next thing you know, he's playing for the Saints. Has a couple setbacks there, too, or maybe he was playing for somebody else, but he has a couple setbacks, gets in the wrong crowd, apparently, but then gets even another chance. And so he's kind of looked at some of these things and seeing that kind of concept we have here of living the run. He's been through some ups and downs along the way that we kind of bantered about a little bit earlier, but just keeping his eyes on the focus, eyes on his own internal character and his spirits, and making a pretty good deal. The other one I liked for those just tuning in, FCA.org, there's one on Mark Teixeira, too, from the New York Yankees. A nice little video there, and just some great character stories, good learning lessons. Again, Paul, as you said, life lessons that we all can kind of grab something from.
Yeah.
Well, we got in studio next is one of those great stories, life lessons. Somebody who made some great strides in high school, is doing some awesome things now too at Cal Poly. Zach Powell will be with us. Cal Poly long snapper next.
You're listening to Living the Ride on ESPN Radio 1280 The Ticket.
When you were a kid, you had all sorts of toys. Toy cars, boats, trucks, entire toy boxes full of fun. Of course, you never really outgrow your toys, do you? It's just that now, instead of a box full, you have a garage full. Cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, ATVs, and more. As you get older, your love of toys just gets stronger. So protect those toys the best way possible by switching to Allstate. An Allstate agent can help do the switching, paperwork, bundle all your policies together, and even find you a bunch of discounts. So if you love your toys, make sure you protect your toys by making one call to an Allstate agent.
Protect all your toys with Allstate. Find an agent near you at allstate.com today. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Property and Casualty Insurance Company and Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and their affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Dollar for dollar, nobody protects you like Allstate.
In a world full of artificial this, genetically modified that, and virtually simulated everything, there's thankfully still an appreciation for the real deal. I'm referring, of course, to the BMW 3 Series, the one car and driver named to their 10 best list a record-breaking 20 consecutive years. The one that's faster and more powerful than the A4, the C300, and the IS250. The one that includes no-cost maintenance while those others do not. And the only one that deserves to be called the ultimate driving machine. So celebrate the real deal. The 3 Series at a BMW center today. Claim based on published 3 Series sedan and competitors 0 to 60 in horsepower. For ultimate service details, call 1-888-3114-BMW.
Come purchase one today at BMW of Santa Maria, the Highline dealer on the Central Coast. Online at bmwsm.com.
Michelob Ultra asked,
What's your ultra life?
Climbing pyramids in Guatemala.
We got married in the run-through wedding chapel.
A zip line ride over a 400-foot canyon.
About 25 feet from me was a black bear.
The ultra life is different for everyone, but there's one common thread. It's about getting out and having fun. And Michelob Ultra helps you do just that. With one exceptionally smooth taste, only 95 calories and 2.6 carbs, Michelob Ultra is perfectly balanced to fit your life and all you want to get out of it. What's your ultra life? Tell us on Facebook.com/Michelob Ultra and live life to the ultra. Here's West from Chicago.
Every year, 16 of my college buddies get together for a golf bonanza.
And Amy from San Diego.
I just recently hiked the Grand Canyon.
Enjoy responsibly. Michelob Ultra Light Beer. 95 calories, 2.6 grams carbs, 0.6 grams protein, and 0 grams fat for 12-ounce serving. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
We're back with Living the Run.
Thanks for joining us here on Living the Run. Remember, you can find us on livingtherun.com. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter. And let's talk about Facebook right now. You know, here's our trivia question for a $20 gift card to Jaffa. And remember, I got a football player in the studio, long snapper. He's salivating over a little bit of Mediterranean food right now. So $20 gift card to Jaffa. Trivia question, how about this? 4 core values for FCA. We've been talking to Luke Llamas here from FCA, talking about the All-Star game they got going. They got 4 core values there at FCA. 1 is integrity, 2 service, 3 teamwork. What is the 4th core value? 4 core values. We got integrity, service, teamwork, and we'll go a 4th core value. Put your answer on Facebook. First correct answer will win $20 to Jaffa Cafe. And Paul, don't even try to give us an answer this week. Last week we said, how much does the brain weigh at birth? Paul guessed 4 pounds, and then he
Then he realized kids are more than 6 pounds and said, my gosh. I just kept thinking of the little kid in Jerry Maguire thinking a human head weighs 8 pounds. You know, I kept thinking, that kid's got a 4-pound brain. And I was like, oh, never mind at birth. This isn't any good.
6-7 pound infant with a 4-pound brain. So we're not going to have Paul answer that question again last time.
It's not my fault you didn't have a big brain when you were born.
4 core values: integrity, service, teamwork. What is that 4th core value? Anyway, we're glad to be in studio now with Zach Powell, long snapper from Cal Poly. I know he's had he was a Lompoc High School graduate, involved in FCA, and I'm going to let Luke, who knows his story a little bit better, give a little introduction to Zach. And thanks for being in the room, guys.
Luke Llamas here. I had the privilege of meeting Zach Powell back in 3 or 4 years ago now, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was
about 4 years ago. He went to our FCA camp down at UCLA with 700 other athletes and did the football camp, and came back and became the president of FCA at his high school, was the club president for 3 years, and just did a great job, helped us do assemblies at their school, was a leader, did different outreaches on campus. It's been great getting to know him and working with him, just become good friends, and real proud of the successes that Zach has had. He was also a scholar athlete his senior year, and has just done an incredible job, so excited to introduce him to you tonight.
Thanks, Zach, for joining us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, Zach, tell us about your FCA experience. None of us in the room had ever been able to be involved in something like this. It sounds like a great group, tremendous core values there, and probably a good little team niche to inspire one another on campus. Tell us about how you got involved and how things kind of transpired there for you, and why you got involved.
Well, it really all just started one day at home. My dad just asked if I was interested in FCA. My dad actually did the same thing at his high school. Started it when he was younger, and I thought about it and I was like, oh, that looks interesting. He's like, what about camp? Checked out camp, looked at it, liked it. I went, met Luke, came back, and I was just I was fired up. Fired up not only about FCA but my faith. Got hooked up with Luke and talked to some friends at my high school, coaches, and really just blossomed from there and got the club started, and it's just continued to grow, still at Lompoc High School.
Well, congratulations on making it to Cal Poly football team as well, playing collegiate football. Was this always a goal of yours to play collegiate football? And I got to ask, I never thought myself about being a long snapper, but Paul already kind of bagged on me about my football prowess. But is that something that you think about? Hey, I've always wanted to be a long snapper. Or how the heck do you know that you're good at that?
Well, it sure doesn't start that way. I mean, like every other little kid in high school, everybody wants to play at the next level and professional sooner or later. But up to my junior year, struggled in football, at least at the varsity level. Senior year coming around, really came out great. Had a great one CIF. I actually played tight end in high school and long snapped. I was just one of those guys that they throw the ball and say, "Who wants to long snap?" Freshman year, I was like, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll try it." Got pretty good at it. In senior year, I was like, well, I'm not big enough, I'm not really fast enough to play a tight end anywhere. I was like, well, I'm getting pretty good at long snapping. Let's try that. So, talking to a few schools with the help of Coach Barrett and my head coach Jones, got the word out and actually got connected to Cal Poly, and they basically said, hey, you can more than welcome to walk on. We'd love to have you. We got 3 seniors. They're going to be gone next year. So throughout that process, basically just walking on, no preference, not really anything besides just hey, I know the coach. But as of just about 2 weeks ago, got that confirmation that I am on the team. Just at this point, waiting to hear if I'm on the active roster or the reserve roster.
Fantastic. USA Track and Field, Paul, are they considering adding an 11th event to the decathlon, long snapping?
I would love that. I would love the I can long snap a little bit. I really can.
I believe you can. Yeah, you can throw the shot put, you can throw the discus, you can throw a jab. You got to be able to long snap.
Exactly, it applies. It's kind of like you get into it. It's kind of like the furthest spot away from Costco. You go to the parking lot. You're not looking for the furthest spot away, but sometimes it's the only one left. So, you got to get your foot in the door. Sometimes, like you said, you want to play at the next level. If he can get in, he can long snap a little bit and demonstrate some more athletic ability. He might make another special team someplace else and kind of sneak into the program someplace else too.
Great. Well, how is this, of the 4 core values there, integrity, service, teamwork, and excellence, Zach, which one kind of resonated most with you? And for those of you that don't know, your question was, what are the 4 core values? So we haven't had a winner yet, and if you haven't gotten that 4th one, we said integrity, service, teamwork, and we just mentioned the 4th one. Free answer, first one in, Jaffa Cafe, $20 gift card. Which one resonated most with you, Zach?
Probably integrity. I've been, raised Christian home. Taught just to respect elders, respect, everybody else, and really just being true to yourself, whether it's through your sport, whether it's through my relationship in my faith, or just in school. Really just working hard to, and not taking those shortcuts. Really taking the extra stride to get that confirmation of success, and then when that comes, especially like football senior year, winning CIF and everything, coming off a 1-9 season, it makes it that much greater. And then coming into Cal Poly, it's just, I'm still in shock of everything.
That's fantastic. How about somebody for you who inspired you, who either through their just their character, maybe some lesson that you learned, who's inspired you along the way? It doesn't have to be a coach, but if it involves athletics. Somebody that just kind of gave you that extra edge that said, hey, if things get tough, I kind of look back and reflect there to persevere on.
Well, outside of my family directly, I have to say Coach Dick Barrett, former Lompoc High School varsity coach, Coach Napoleon Kaufman back in the day, and he kind of just a PR guy, just right there with us at the high school, just kind of as an inspiration, kind of hooking up with the young guys, really getting them involved, getting them in. And he was the one who initially said, hey, you might have a chance. Worked with my head coach, and even to this day, I call him weekly, hey, what's going on? Or he'll shoot me a call, how's everything going? School going well? Even when I'm struggling or when something football related, I had bad practice today. He's the one that picks me up. He's the one that really has pushed me, and I owe a whole lot to him just to where I am now.
Well, that mentorship is always important. It's always great to have mentors. I know we talk Living the Run, where we're all dealing with the same life, and we're all on a similar path, and sometimes the path gets windy, but it's great to have those leaders, somebody that you can look to, a friend, a leader of some kind. We're often talking health and fitness on this show, and getting to that health spot is sometimes difficult for people as well, just as athletics, competition, and so forth. FCA isn't at Cal Poly. What are you getting involved in there, and what do you expect to be? Have you met other guys doing the same thing? Other guys that did FCA at their schools?
Actually, yeah, we've had a few just introductory meetings and all. Actually there's quite a good interest. I have talked to mainly a lot of football players directly, a lot of walk-ons, just freshmen that I've gotten connected with, who did FCA or who had FCA at their high school, and they're like, wow, they don't have it here. Let's get it started. And with the help of Luke and a few other individuals, we're just really trying to get it off the ground. Slow start to this year, but we're really planning on going strong next year.
So I imagine you played in this game, and we're talking about the FCA All-Star football game that happens Saturday, June 2nd, 7 p.m. at Atascadero High School. You played in that game last year, and tell us a little bit about the game and your experience.
It was truly an awesome experience. One of the cool things was I went into the game playing with 10 to 11 of my buddies from my high school. That was really cool to continue on. We're not done yet.
Yeah.
And also, what really fun experience is playing with the guys that you've played against from high school, even before in Pee Wee ball. Just playing with them at that level, at a kind of it's an all-star game. We're all there. It's like, wow, it's just a great experience. And then having FCA involved is a real treat for me. For example, just the start of the game, I think we were just walking out as chosen one of the captains. Walking out, they said, "Hey, we want you to give a little talk before the game." I was like, "Okay, who am I talking to?" "Oh, you're talking to the fans, the crowd." I was like, "Oh, okay."
I haven't prepared anything, but here we go.
I have nothing prepared. But they're like,
"Yeah, but Paul will do it."
Go out there. Yeah. So I went out there, just gave a quick thank you to the fans for being there. The people who put this thing on, such as Luke and the others, and it was truly a great game. And then also to kind of bring some of that, bring some prestige and eliteness back to the Central Coast, athletically and direct with football. It was really great to see, and it was just such a fun experience.
So you talked about those 4 core values, and I know they're really it's obvious how they apply to sport and faith. How have you been able to apply those? Because I think a lot of the problem is with people working out and people trying to get in shape and lead that healthy lifestyle. As you get older, life just kind of gets in the way. It's not easy to just say, I'm going to focus on this and do that. You got the job, you might have kids, you might have a husband or wife out there. You're trying to do 10 or 15 different things. So how were you able to use those core values in transition, away from football, as life changes for you? How were you able to utilize those values?
Well, I mean, like something like academics and stuff, it's, going through high school, really, really high on the academic scale, and then coming to Cal Poly, just getting crushed immediately. I mean, from failing midterms to, I passed all my classes, but something like that is looking at those values like excellence and teamwork and things like that. You can't do it on your own. Whether it's friends, whether it's family, whether it's the mentors or people like Luke in my life, putting that effort, that work in, it really pays off in the end, and that's some of the things that, like school-wise, it's affected me.
I was thinking, the integrity, the integrity one would be a great one as far as academics go, because a lot of people go to college and they're at the top of their high school class, and they go to college, and all of a sudden you're just kind of another dude out there or whatever, and getting C's and B's.
Oh, you're served humble pie really quickly.
And a lot of people will revert to, I got to pass, anything to pass, and they don't. You kind of trade a piece of you away when you're like, you know what, I'm just going to get the answers from this guy, and I'm going to write it down. And there's, they don't look at that. But if you got those 4 core values and you're working with those and you're remembering integrity all the time, and it's like, I failed this test, the thought of cheating or whatever doesn't ever cross your mind. So, anyways, I thought
awesome.
it'd be a great time.
Awesome stuff. Hey, Zach and Luke, thanks for coming in. Luke, I know you want to say a couple parting thank yous here, so throw in your thank yous here and, again, promote that game one more time.
Yeah, we're just real excited for the game on June 2nd at Atascadero High School. I want to thank some of our premier sponsors. We have Dignity Health, which is one of our sponsors, the St. Anne's Band of Chumash Indians, and KCOY News. I just also want to thank our committee with Greg Dickinson and Pat Cusack and all the other guys that have been working on it. Just excited for the impact it's had in Zach's life. He was the winner of the FCA Influence Award last year and got a $1,000 scholarship towards Cal Poly, and looking forward to the other players that are going to be involved this year and some of the scholarships that they'll receive and the awards that they'll get. So come out to the game if you can on June 2nd, and thanks so much for letting us share with you guys tonight.
Hey, awesome stuff, you two. Thanks so much for coming into the studio. We will wrap up the show with tips and takeaways in moments.
You're listening to Living the Ride on ESPN Radio 1280 The Ticket.
Friends tell friends about Perry Ford Lincoln in San Luis Obispo. Here's Angela Biles from San Luis Obispo.
At Perry Ford, I just felt instantly comfortable when I walked in.
Here's Gus Best from Paso Robles.
When I traded in the car here, they gave me the most for my car. In fact, I can honestly say it was $1,000 more than anyone else.
Here's Leota Lardner from Templeton.
For service, I always come to Perry. I had a small little accident. Perry picked it up, took care of the damages, and returned it back to me.
Here's Doug Showalter from Morro Bay.
Oh, it was so easy to buy that car. When I came in, everybody at Perry Ford kind of came together and worked the paperwork, and I was in and out of this place very quickly.
And here's William Garwood from Lockwood.
Even though we live 70 miles away, it's right on the highway. You can get right off the highway, right into the dealership, and it's well worth the trip.
For a great experience you'll be telling your friends about, visit Perry Ford Lincoln today on Los Osos Valley Road in San Luis Obispo. Call 544-5200 or click on perryfordslo.com.
Hi, it's Colin Coward. Here on the Central Coast, when it comes to insurance, there's only two things you need to remember. Morris and Garitano. Since 1885, they've built a tradition of earning your trust twice, at the time of purchase and the time of need. It's the largest insurance agency headquartered in the county. Morris and Garitano offers a broad range of insurance services to businesses and individuals for all your insurance needs: health, liability, auto, life, and workers' comp. Only two things you need to remember: Morris and Garitano.
The U.S. Open returns to Olympic Club in San Francisco June 11th through the 17th. Witness the game's best players and golf's toughest tests. Tickets can be purchased now at the U.S. Open website. The U.S. Open has sold out 25 years in a row, and this year's championship promises to be no exception. Get your tickets while they're available. The U.S. Open Golf Championship, June 11th through the 17th at the Olympic Club in San Francisco. Don't miss a single shot. Purchase your tickets now at usopen.com. That's usopen.com.
This is really cool, Dad.
Yep, nothing better than camping out under the stars.
We're back with Living the Run.
Great show today, Paul and Max. We had
Yep, nothing better than camping out under the stars.
we just got a few difficulties here. It sounds like a few commercial interruptions.
We're back with Living the Run.
We ready for this, Max? All right, good. Let's finish this up.
Let's finish it up here. FCA All-Star Football Game Saturday, June 2nd, 7 p.m. at Tascadero High School. Don't miss it. Paul talked a little bit about more the inner spirit. Talked a little bit more about character today. His motivation, different things that get us going, different things to get us to live the run. What'd you tips and takeaways? What'd you take away from today?
I'm going back to integrity. I think that is a great value to have. It really keeps your mind on what's really important. Yeah, winning is great. Yeah, doing well is great. But really, in the end, you've got to be able to walk away from the competition and walk away from the sport and look yourself in the mirror. Know that you did the best you could. And that was all you could do, And if you can do that, I think it's a great career.
Hey, that's awesome. And I'd like to say, just be thankful for your blessings every day. We're blessed to be here, blessed to live on the Central Coast, blessed to be able to run and move. Next week, Paul, a trainer coming in to talk about there's no necessarily wrong type of exercise, right type of exercise, but there sure are a lot of wrong ways to exercise. Living the Run next week. Be sure to join us.